attacks, this time from the Middle East. We're now learning that Israel has stated that it has identified the remains of hostages Amiram Kuper and Sahar Baruch, whose bodies were returned by Hamas earlier in the day. The statement has come from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office. It emphasizes that the families of the deceased men have been informed after the completion of the identification process by the National Institute of Forensic Medicine. Hamas had earlier handed over the two bodies of the deceased Israeli hostages a day after the Gaza ceasefire was shaken by a series of airstrikes across the enclave. Israel maintains that it was Hamas that had violated the ceasefire by firing upon its troops, which had resulted in the death of a 37-year-old IDF soldier. Hamas has so far returned the remains of 17 of the 28 deceased hostages that it had agreed to hand over as part of the truce deal that was brokered by the United States of America. Still with us on the broadcast is Mr. Lev Aaron. Critics are pointing out that Hamas has been stalling. Hamas maintains that it does require heavy equipment in order to return the bodies of the other deceased that it claims are present in the tunnels, are also present buried under rubble after Israeli bombardment of the last 2 years. Meanwhile, we do know that there is a team from Egypt that is monitoring this entire procedure. There was heavy equipment that was allowed in from the Egyptian side as well in order to facilitate the digging of these bodies, digging out of these bodies from the rubble. Would you agree with the stance that some of the experts have been putting across that Hamas is stalling?
Let's start with something which is crystal clear. Hamas is cheating the international community on a daily basis. They try to say that it is like a Herculean job. It is very complicated and so on, while at least some of the bodies, they know where the bodies are, and they simply want to win some time. So I would not trust Hamas. I would not trust the PR of Hamas. And Hamas will have to be obedient to the agreement that Trump has made. The second thing is, of course, the question, which are the countries that will escort Hamas? If it is Egypt, it is a better news. If it is Qatar and Turkey, it is not good news for Israel, even not for India, let alone Pakistan. So at this stage, we got all the hostages who were alive, and now only a sliver of the Israeli society goes to demonstrations and so on. Also, Israel became more stable, and Hamas is trying to cheat us, but still, we see that at least every week, more hostages, more dead hostages are coming back to Israel, praise be.
Speaking of Hamas itself, why, in your assessment, why are they then stalling? What do they have to gain from doing so?
Look, they understand that right now, when they have no hostages who are alive, they know that the leverage on Israel is very small. Of course, also the relatives of the dead hostages, of those who were murdered by Hamas, also they want to see their relatives buried in the Israeli soil. But it is not the same like a mother or a father or a sister who are waiting for hostage who we know that he is alive. Because the hostage issue made us, destabilized Israel for quite a lot of time, almost 2 years. And now that only a minority of the Israelis see the dead hostages as a very huge topic, Hamas still tries to leverage it and to bring them, one by one, not to bring them all of them. They know that once all hostages are in Israel, they have no leverage, and each time that they will shoot Israel, maybe a new war will start.
There's another development that has come forward. Israel has recently expressed apprehensions on the presence of Turkish troops as part of the international coalition. We do know that this is something that has been mooted by Donald Trump under his peace plan. The formation of an international coalition with the involvement of US's Arab partners, including Egypt, including UAE, including Qatar, as well as Turkey, to monitor the situation in Gaza as far as post-war reconstruction is concerned. What is Israel's primary concern with Turkey? Because Turkey was involved in bringing about this deal as well as a mediator. What is Israel's concern with Erdogan's position in particular?
Look, we have a real dilemma here because on one hand, Turkey, Qatar, and Pakistan are not friends of Israel. We don't want to see them in Gaza. No way. On the other hand, we don't want to lose Donald Trump. We cannot walk over the red lines that Donald Trump gave us. So in this sense, if Donald Trump, who has now excellent relationship with Qatar and Pakistan and Turkey, if he tells us that he wants, or at least he agrees, to Qataris, Turkish and Pakistani soldiers inside Gaza, we will have I don't know, a huge dilemma. Can we say no? Can't we say no? Right now, it doesn't seem like we have enough independent foreign policy to say no to any of the red lines that Trump will give us.
All right, sir. With that, I would like to thank you for taking out time sharing your analysis with us on NewsX World today.